Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bisca's Room. My name is Bisca. You guys, I'm almost giddy. I'm so excited to be back. It's been way too long since I've recorded, but I feel like I'm trying to be as comfortable and natural in these videos as I can be. And just between like having a bunch of rainy days here in Florida where recording out on this leaky porch isn't always the most ideal, to just like having life stuff happen and come up and balancing a new job and all the things that are kind of going on right now. The last thing I want to do is like force the video, force the vibe, and then kind of just look back at it and feel like it wasn't genuine or authentic or a product that I feel really good about. So I have been thinking about making this video many times before this. So I'm just really excited to be back. That's what I have to say. So welcome back, you guys. Feels really good to be here. Like I said, I did officially get a new job. So that feels really exciting and really positive. It's been something that has definitely kind of been weighing on me for a while now, trying to find different employment than where I was at. So I feel very blessed and very fortunate. And I just appreciate everyone who's thinking about that and kind of encouraging good vibes or prayers or whatever it is that kind of motivates you when you're thinking about sending goodness to other people. So I feel really happy with that. So far, it's been pretty good. And feels hopeful. So that's really exciting. There's a lot of things that have been kind of rolling around in my brain recently as far as like what would be a good topic for the next video. I don't even know if you guys are into this, but I think I do want to do a what I'm watching roundup very soon, just because I feel like there's been a lot of things that I am either currently watching or have watched recently that I've really enjoyed and maybe just want to talk about with you guys. So I think you can anticipate a video like that coming soon. Tomorrow is Cole's birthday. And we are going to be Cole. I'm going to put that in. I hope you know. I'm going to put that in the video. Tomorrow is Cole's birthday. He's turning 21, you guys. So give a shout out to Cole. Cash at me at Bisca or Venmo me at Bisca if you want to buy Cole a shot. It's really just at Bisca on Venmo. Yeah, you guys. So that's kind of exciting. We're going to be really busy tomorrow. Cole is also getting his first tattoo tomorrow. So that's really exciting. And we're going to go out to Orlando. So all things to look forward to. But yeah, I also just wanted to share that because that's a very exciting life event that's coming up for the Johnson kid duo. I guess I want to get into kind of the core of the topic that I wanted to discuss today. And that really has to do with patience and uncertainty when it comes to pursuing creative art forms, I guess, but in general, just career paths that are maybe outside of the norm or overall arching goals that maybe aren't the most everyday or maybe considered like safe or financially secure or whatever it may be. I think recently I have just been struggling a lot with kind of putting undue pressure on myself. And I know that's something that we've definitely talked about on the channel before, but just feeling like I really need to have answers and feel like I need to have things figured out. When you work, especially as a creative, you know, it can be really expensive investing in gear, investing in equipment, mixing, mastering, all of those things. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like that's just potentially looking at performances or looking at making the music itself. It's not talking about marketing or distribution or really any of those things. And so on top of it being quite expensive, it can be difficult to make money or really see any income that has impact. And I think it's easy sometimes personally for me to kind of get to a point with it where I really start to just doubt myself and question things because I'm not as far along as I would like to be at this stage, or maybe I haven't found like the level or measure of success that maybe I'd hoped I would find by this point, which can be challenging for sure. I think it's easy for myself to kind of immediately question sort of like what I'm doing. It's easy to compare myself to other people who have taken more normative paths in their lives and feel like I should be further along than where I am. You know, even just with like financial stability, it's a lot of like taking on part-time work, taking on this or that so I can try to make as much money as I can in a small amount of time, and then put as much of my time and energy into creating and working on my craft in the time that I do have outside of that. And of course, it's a huge motivator and factor as to why we moved from Wisconsin to Florida in the first place. Like, we were trying to just reclaim time and energy to put into the practice. And we've been out here, we're creeping up very quickly on 3 months, which is actually insane. But still, the time has gone really fast, and like it is interesting how like there's a lot of impacting factors that kind of have to be settled into place for you to really even put the time and energy into being creative that you want to see back, if that makes sense. Having financial stability and also having like a workplace that isn't too disruptive to your everyday and the things that you're working on is really vital for you to have enough like peace and focus and rhythm and consistency for you to kind of like hit your own stride otherwise. And yeah, like I said, it's all ebbs and flows. And I think part of what inspired me to have this conversation with you guys in this space was I had this conversation with my friend Lauren, and I've known her like my whole life. And she lives in Chicago, and she works for like an environmental architecture firm and does a lot of really interesting, cool stuff out there and has a lot of success in her career. And I'm so proud of her. And we were talking about me and what I was doing. And I like ended up getting into this like full on spiral about where I was at in life and like not having things figured out and like not being financially where I want to be and not feeling like I had the answers to all the questions and trying to figure out if I should like go back to school or try to get my master's or try to streamline a path into a more secure profession. Because, you know, it's easy to just pick things and start putting extra pressure on yourself, right? Like for me, it's like, well, I'm 26 and getting closer to 27 all the time and haven't been financially stable enough to travel the way that I want to travel. But ultimately, I feel like I started having this conversation with her about these things and really just started getting more and more in my head. And I think by the end of the conversation I was having with her, I'd like already kind of come back down to earth and was like feeling regretful about like how much I was allowing myself to stress out about the entire situation, which I was kind of like unnecessarily building up in my head. But also just like it's frustrating to sort of like disconnect from your reality to a point where you start to just unnecessarily beat up on yourself to a point of just like no productivity and just like judgment and criticism and just like ultimately things that aren't very helpful. And like, while I think it's totally appropriate to ask yourself realistic questions about why you're doing the things that you're doing, making sure that you're keeping in a line of intention with who you want to be and the things you want to accomplish for yourself, it's also just so important to continue to give yourself grace and to check yourself when you find yourself in those downward spirals. And also the reality that I remind myself of all the time, that I've always reminded myself of when it comes to having these conversations, sometimes even just with myself, is most creatives, it takes a full decade of doing what you're doing to land and really get into your career and find that success. And I'm 5 years down that road. I'm halfway. And I'm sat here and I'm asking myself, why isn't it happening for me right now? And it's so easy to look at social media and just in general look at peers of yours, whether that's people in a local space, whether it's people on a larger industry scale of whatever profession it is that you're trying to chase, and feel like everyone else is finding success but me. Everyone else is ahead of the game, is farther than I am, has more accomplishments than me. What have I done comparatively? But I think it's so easy to look at others' success and only see the highlight reel and consider that everything. And I'm sure that there are other people who are probably looking at me and having a similar feeling about some of the opportunities that I've been afforded in terms of the experiences that I've had and the capacity in which I've been releasing music over the past 5 years. And it's so important to celebrate those victories, but I think it's also just so easy to slip so quickly into self-criticism and the feeling that it will just genuinely never be enough. And I reject that. Even though it's something that I'm experiencing and struggling with all the time. I think, like I said, I had that conversation with my friend, and like immediately I was like, had just this really icky feeling about the way I was talking about myself, the way I was talking about my future. And then again too, when I stop overthinking and when I actually just afford myself the opportunity to have the space to create and work on stuff and actually practice being the creative and the artist that I want to be. It's not 100% successful. It doesn't always go the way that I want to, but for the most part, I feel really good about the stuff that I'm making, and that alone motivates me to continue and makes me feel validated as an artist. It's when I stop and start looking at these outer metrics that I really start to devalue the work that I'm doing in just the practice of being an artist. And that is something I just really don't ever want to lose. And yet also I feel like I'm forfeiting all the time to otherwise uphold this narrative that because I haven't gone viral, what I'm doing isn't important or doesn't have value. But I'm over that. And I don't feel charmed by virality, because it does feel like tech bros and algorithms are taste making right now for our generation. And that's not to say that the people who find success through virality don't have talent or don't have qualities that make them deserving. I think if it's happening for you, there's a reason for sure. But when I think about my own work, I feel like I just have become less and less romanced with the idea of chasing that for myself and for what I'm trying to do. And that kind of ties back into a little bit of what I was talking about earlier in the video as well, where I was saying like I didn't want to make the video because I wasn't in a space to make the video. And I was thinking about you guys. Like I've been thinking about the channel for the 2 weeks that I haven't been recording or releasing stuff. I've been thinking about the channel the whole time. But I didn't want to make something just to make something. I think I am currently in a practice of trying to disengage from the content machine that is our current state of social media. And that's not to say that I'm not going to participate. It just means I'm making my own rules, and I'm not going to create just for the sake of creating. I'm going to intentionally make things because there are things that are important to me that I want to share and points of community that I want to connect with y'all on. And there's validity in trying stuff. There's validity in consistency. There's validity in practicing a lot at something. I mean, that's another thing too. When you talk about a decade until you really find success in what you're doing, part of that is Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours. And that's real. too. I mean, the more time and practice you put into something, the more you're just going to get better and learn and grow. But I don't live as a human being to endlessly feed the algorithm. And I want to make stuff that has value, and I want to make things that when I do share something, people feel like it's genuine and like it's coming from the heart. And recently I had a friend make a really nice post about me on Threads, and a lot of what she was talking about was that I'm vulnerable and that I'm authentic. For me, that is the best compliment, truly, because I always want you guys to feel like you're getting 100% the real Bisca, because there's enough people fronting, truly. And majority of the time, I'm kind of just like going through it and having a hard time. But there's a lot of really good stuff that comes along with that as well. And every day, as much as possible, I'm trying to find intentional moments of joy and happiness and goodness that I can create for myself. And like I was saying, for me, a lot of the time, most of the time, that joy and that happiness is being able to have the act of creating and expressing myself through my art. And so thank you guys for being around. I know I talk about this all the time, but I'm just going to keep saying thank you, because gratitude is really important. And I'm really glad that you guys are here, and I'm really glad that you guys show up. Cole and I have been writing some new stuff that's really cool. We just got Cole a new pedal for his birthday, and I think that's going to give us some really interesting flexibility and room to continue to explore a live show and perfect what a live show would look like if we went ahead and did some shows some places. I think it's going to help us really flesh that out there. So yeah, there's a lot of really good things coming. There's a lot of really good things on the way, and I just wanted to take today's video to kind of ease back in, say hi, have a little chat, have a little catch up, talk to you about some things that have been on my mind, and just be vulnerable and real with you guys about just sort of what's been on my mind and kind of what I've been mulling over. But I love making these, and I love getting to connect with people through my ideas and my experiences. So thank you for allowing me to do this here. Also, if you've made it this far, Small Talk, which is the first song I ever released under Bisca, is something like 15 streams away from hitting 9K right now. So go stream Small Talk. Help me reach 9K. I really want to hit 10K, but that we've got some time before we do that. But I think 15 streams is very doable to hit that number. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Keep streaming Honey. Honey's been doing fantastic. It's been having a lot of growth and a lot of love recently. Thank you so much to anyone who's saved it, who's liked it, thrown it on a playlist, shared it with a friend, talked to anyone about my music. Truly means the world to me. It means more than you could ever possibly know. So with that being said, I think I'm probably going to leave it there, but I've got a lot of ideas that I want to work on. So I feel hopeful that there will be more videos coming on the way very soon. So with that being said, my name is Bisca, and I will see you again very soon.
You got your own style, disposition, and taste, kind of person.